one place that I'd really like to kind of probe and press is the call to enemy love. So in Matthew 5, we have this hard teaching, you might say, of Jesus, to love your enemy and pray for the one that persecutes you. How do we make sense of that in such, really, in some cases, very dire circumstances for people who are severely wronged, severely harmed, maybe in a societal context where there already is the concept of there's oppression. The power dynamic has not tilted in their favor. What do we make of this particular teaching?
Yes, well, it's the question of what does love mean in that context is such an important one, right? It has high stakes, so it's relatively easy to say Jesus said that. What does that kind of love mean? How does that even redefine terrain? My daughter said to me once, "Mom, if Jesus called us to love our enemies, doesn't that kind of make them not our enemies anymore?" I think the language shifting, or the sense of being really clear on what our language is. If we define someone as an enemy, and I think in our context, current context, it feels like we're really ready to define lots of people as enemies, or
political opposition,
discourse,
moral opposition, boundaries, and like actual state lines.
And I'm not sure that we should impose all of that. We call everyone our enemy, in that first century context on Matthew's Jesus. But I think, how do we name those in our lives that we have real opposition with, or there's very great difference with, or there's fear related to, because we just don't know the other very well. Often a way that boundaries get drawn really strongly is because we're fearful of the other. We don't know what they're going to do to us. So maybe I'll let you jump in here, but that kind of sense of naming, even naming as enemy it can be problematic if we simply want to name almost everyone outside of our little group as enemy.
Yeah, I mean, the language thing, I kind of, I struggle with the enemy language. I mean, I struggle with it is hard. You have this, context of Jesus's teaching, and then Jesus's own example, and this, what seems to me to be kind of this assumption in Scripture that we were enemies of God, that we are also identified as enemies. So I was thinking, Jeannine, when you were talking about this idea of naming, when people kind of use the kind of the large things like enemy, I find this to, my suspicions arouse when I hear suffering, that there seems to be degrees and causes that we need to be very particular about. So kind of, somebody who annoys me is not my enemy, and yet, right, I think in our context, any kind of inconvenience caused to myself, somebody's against me. Therefore, they are my enemy, which again dilutes what an enemy actually is.
So we dilute love and we dilute enemy in terms of terms. Isn't
right,
that
again. And the sobering thing for me on thinking about the enemy love is kind of, it's easy, I think, to be kind of unidirectional and immediately think that, well, who are my enemies? Without giving much pause to thinking, who counts me as an enemy? And so, I don't know, Evan, maybe in response to your question about, the context of oppression and the ways in which, certain people benefit from a set of social arrangements, in many ways, I could be identified as an enemy because of sets of privileges that I have that actually diminish the well-being. Maybe not intentionally. I mean, isn't this the challenge of a global market? Not intentionally, but my purchasing practices, my consumption practices can be harmful. But I would not see myself as an enemy, but maybe others do. And for me, that's kind of a sobering place to start, isn't it? To think, on whose list would my name appear?
Right. And or your category.
That's right, right. And what kind of forbearance, what kind of mercy, what kind of forgiveness is extended to me even in ways I didn't understand.